He's the boy who set sail with nothing but a straw hat and a dream. The boy who smiled in the face of death. The man who defied emperors, warlords, and gods. Monkey D. Luffy, the pirate who will shake the world. But what truly makes him unstoppable isn't just his strength, it's his evolution, his ability to adapt when the seas throw monsters in his path. The transformations that turned a rubber boy into a god of freedom. From the blazing speed of Gear 2nd, to the towering might of Gear 3rd, to the wild chaos of Gear 4th. And finally, the reality-breaking freedom of Gear 5th. The form that broke the internet and changed One Piece forever. But these aren't just power-ups. No, they're chapters in Luffy's story. Physical manifestations of his unshakable will to protect his crew, chase his dream, and bring freedom to the world. Today, we'll dive into every transformation Luffy has ever used. The lore, the hype, the jaw-dropping fights that left us speechless, and the deeper meaning behind each evolution. This is the ultimate breakdown of Monkey D. Luffy's gears, from his humble beginnings to the Sun God himself. Base form, the foundation of a king. Before the gears, before the godlike awakenings, there was just a boy with a goofy grin, a straw hat, and a dream so big it scared the world. When Luffy set sail from East Blue, he didn't have hockey. He didn't have transformations. All he had was a devil fruit that made him rubber and a heart that refused to break. And he made that work. He turned a weak power into pure genius. Gomu Gomu no Pistol, bazooka, Gatling. He slingshotted himself across ships, ricocheted bullets, used the battlefield as his weapon. But as the seas grew wider, so did the threats. Giants, assassins, warlords of the sea. Suddenly being just rubber wasn't enough. Fast forward to the New World, and base Luffy today, a monster in his own right. Observation hockey lets him sense attacks before they land. Armament hockey hardens his fists like steel. And Conqueror's hockey, the rarest power of kings, allows him to knock out armies with a glare and clash with the strongest on Earth. But even that wasn't enough in the beginning. There came a time when his crew faced annihilation, when Nico Robin was in chains, and the gates of justice loomed ahead. And then, Luffy crouched low, his fists clenched, steam began to rise, the air grew hot, the ground trembled, and the world witnessed something new. The birth of Gear 2nd. Enies Lobby, the battlefield of justice. The Straw Hats vs. CP9. Assassins who could break steel with a single kick. Blue Nose smirked, confident Luffy was outmatched. And then, Luffy bent his knees, clenched his fists, and steam hissed from his skin. Gear 2nd was born. But what is Gear 2? It's pure genius. Luffy used his rubber physiology to overclock his own body, forcing blood to pump at insane speeds through widened veins. This floods his muscles with oxygen and nutrients, pushing his physical limits beyond anything human. Bluno didn't even blink. 1 second Luffy stood still, the next jet pistol crashed into his gut like a cannon blast. The shockwave ripped through the air. Bluno's body slammed against stone walls, coughing blood. And then came Jet Gatling. Dozens of fists moving so fast they blurred into a storm. Bluno finished. CP9's confidence shattered. But power comes at a price. Gear 2 burned Luffy's stamina like wildfire. His lungs screamed. His heart pounded dangerously fast. Every second in Gear 2 drained his life away. During Enies Lobby, he didn't care, because Robin's life was on the line. Then came Rob Lucci, the deadliest CP9 agent. Even with Gear 2, Luffy struggled. Every punch took everything out of him, but he kept going, kept hitting, kept standing.
Number 3, because that's Luffy. He'd rather burn his life away than let his crew fall. And after the time skip, Gear 2 Evolve. No more fatal drawbacks, instant activation. He could channel it into a single limb for quick bursts, combine it with Haki, and you get attacks like Red Hawk, a fiery punch so fast it ignites mid-air. Gear 2 was Luffy's awakening into a true monster, but speed wasn't enough. Against giants, he needed size. He needed something massive. And that's when Luffy bit his thumb and blew.
The birth of Gear 3rd. Gear 3rd, the Giant's Wrath. If Gear 2 was lightning, Gear 3 was the thunder that followed. Picture this, Luffy bites his thumb, blows air into his bones, his arm swells bigger until it's the size of a house. The ground cracks beneath the weight. First time we saw it, against Rob Lucci, Luffy winds up Gigantic Pistol and smashes through Enies Lobby's steel like paper. The shockwave echoes across the battlefield. But there was a catch. After deflating, Luffy shrank into Tiny Luffy, a chibi warrior wobbling around. Funny for us, deadly for him. That vulnerability almost cost him everything. Post-time skip fixed that and added hockey. Suddenly, Gear 3 became a Titan Slayer, Elephant Gun, Elephant Gatling, and then Red Rock, the punch that crashed into Kaido and left him bleeding. That moment, history. Gear 3 represents Luffy's dream made literal, growing bigger than the giant standing in his way. But even giant fists couldn't topple emperors. Luffy needed something faster, stronger, wilder, something that would change everything. The birth of Gear 4th. Nightmare Luffy, the Demon King of Thriller Bark. Before the Beast of Elasticity, before Gear 4th turned battles into chaos, there was a transformation so eerie, so unexpected, it felt like a fever dream. Thriller Bark, the largest ship in the world, a floating graveyard of shadows, zombies, and terror. The Straw Hats fought desperately, zombies surrounded them, the giant oars, a demon of legend, rampaged across the island, powered by Luffy's stolen shadow. Gears 2 and 3? Useless. Oars was too big, too strong. And then came the gamble. Luffy allowed 100 shadows to be implanted into his body, shadows belonging to the strongest warriors on the island. His skin turned deep blue, his muscles swelled with monstrous power, his voice deepened into a demonic growl. This was no longer the Luffy we knew. This was something else. This was Nightmare Luffy. The ground shook as he stepped forward, his fists massive, his aura terrifying, and then he caught Or's gigantic arm mid-swing, stopped it, cold. One punch sent Or's crashing into the ground. Luffy grabbed the giant's leg and swung him like a toy, slamming him into stone. The zombies stared in silence, the crew's jaws dropped. For those few minutes, Nightmare Luffy was an unstoppable demon king. But here's the truth. This wasn't really Luffy. It was borrowed power, shadows, not will. And that's why it never returned. Because real strength, real freedom comes from within. And what came next? That was pure Luffy. His body, his haki, his genius, unleashed. The era of bouncing chaos. The form that shattered the heavens. Gear 4th. Gear 4th, the Beast King. Dressrosa, a land in chains. Doflamingo, the heavenly demon, pulling every string. His birdcage closes in, ready to slice the island to ribbons. The people are hopeless. Law lies broken. Gear 2, Gear 3, nothing worked. So Luffy bets everything. He bites his thumb, blows air, not into bones this time, but into his muscles. His body swells. His skin turns jet black with haki. The ground cracks under the pressure. The smoke clears, and there he is. A beast bouncing on the ground like a coiled spring of destruction. This is Gear 4th, Bound Man. Bound Man was unlike anything we'd ever seen. Luffy's body compressed into a massive, muscular frame, coated in armament haki so dense it shone like obsidian. His legs constantly bouncing, storing spring-like energy for explosive bursts. Doflamingo smirked, until Luffy vanished. 1 second he's there, the next, Kong Gun smashes into his chest like a meteor. The shockwave tore through Dressrosa. Buildings crumbled. The birdcage shook. The crowd gasped. Doflamingo, the untouchable king, spitting blood, flying across the city like a rag doll. For the first time, the heavenly demon looked afraid. Bound Man flipped the script, but it wasn't perfect. 20 minutes in this form drained Luffy's stamina like crazy. After using it, he collapsed, completely helpless. That weakness nearly cost him his life. Then came Tank Man, Whole Cake Island, Luffy versus Charlotte Cracker. A fight so ridiculous it became legendary. Cracker's biscuit army was endless, so Luffy did what only Luffy would do. He ate them. Ate until his body swelled beyond recognition. And when he activated Gear 4th in that bloated state, Tank Man was born. Tank Man was an immovable fortress of rubber and haki. Cracker slashed with his sword, bounced. Biscuit soldiers, crushed. And then came Snake Man, sleek, deadly, pure speed. This wasn't about defense anymore. This was evolution for a single purpose: defeating Katakuri, the man who could see the future, the perfect fighter, the unbeatable wall standing between Luffy and victory. When Luffy unleashed Snake Man, everything changed. His body slimmed down, his punches stretched further, bent midair, striking from impossible angles. Attacks like Python and Black Mamba didn't just hit hard, they hunted their target. Katakuri dodged left, the punch curved after him. Katakuri jumped back, it followed. No escape. This fight wasn't just fists, it was will versus will. Katakuri, the perfect man, breaking his own rules. Luffy, the flawed, reckless warrior, refusing to fall. And then came the final clash. Luffy charges King Cobra. His fist twists like a living serpent, faster than sound. Katakuri counters with Buzzcut Mochi. The air splits. The ground explodes. And when the dust settled, Luffy stood. Gear 4 showed us a truth. Luffy will always find a way to break limits. But even this form, even Snake Man's speed, wasn't enough against Kaido. Kaido crushed him again and again until the drums began to beat. The drums of liberation.
Gear 5th, the God of Freedom. Luffy falls, his body shattered, his heartbeat stops. Kaido towers over him, declaring the death of hope. The people of Wano despair. And then it happens. A sound. Dum-da-da-dum. The sound of liberation. That heartbeat. That rhythm. It wasn't just a pulse. It was a drumbeat of freedom. In that moment, something ancient awakened. Something the world government feared for 800 years. Something that made the Gorosei themselves tremble. The truth behind Luffy's devil fruit. For over 1,000 chapters, we believed Luffy ate the Gumu Gumu no Mi, a simple paramecia fruit that made him a rubber man. But that was a lie. The real name? Hito Hito no Mi, model Sun God Nika, a mythical Zoan fruit, the rarest of the rare. A fruit so dangerous, the world government erased its name from history. Why? Because it doesn't just give strength. It gives the most terrifying power in the world: freedom. The Gorosei said it best. That fruit brings a smile to whoever eats it. But in their eyes, that smile wasn't joy. It was chaos. It was rebellion. And on that rooftop, as the drums pounded, Luffy's hair turned white. His clothes shimmered. His eyes gleamed with pure mischief. This wasn't just Luffy. This was Joy Boy reborn. This was Gear 5th. The moment Gear 5 appeared, the entire fandom lost its mind. Oda didn't just give Luffy a power-up. He changed the rules of the series. Because Gear 5 isn't bound by logic. It's Toon Force turned into battle. Luffy bounces like rubber incarnate. His body twists, bends, and inflates without limit. But here's the insane part. His awakening lets him turn the environment into rubber too. The ground, buildings, even his enemies. Physics? Dead. Logic? Burnt. This is pure imagination in motion. Techniques like Gomu Gomu no Giant, where Luffy turns into a colossal warrior towering over Onigashima. Gomu Gomu no Dawn Whip, swinging Kaido like a ragdoll. And the craziest of them all, Jump Rope Kaido. Yes, he literally used the strongest creature alive as a jump rope. If that isn't peak Luffy, what is? But then came the finale. Kaido unleashed his strongest strike. Flames blazing, the island itself trembling. And Luffy, he smiled, bit down, stretched his arms, and formed a fist so massive it blotted out the sky. Gomu Gomu no Bajrangan.
A punch the size of an island, coated in advanced conqueror's hockey, crackling with lightning and the will of freedom itself. When that fist came down, it wasn't just an attack. It was a message to Kaido, to Wano, to the world. This is my era. The impact was catastrophic. Kaido, the unkillable dragon, slammed into the earth, knocked out cold. And with that punch, the Age of Emperors changed forever. But here's the beauty of Gear 5. It's not about raw strength. It's not about flashy power-ups. It's about joy, about turning despair into laughter, about breaking every chain, every rule, every law of nature, and doing it with a smile. Gear 5 is Luffy's soul, made visible. It's One Piece in its purest form. Fun, ridiculous, free. And the scariest part? He's only just awakened it. This is Luffy at the start of Gear 5 mastery. Imagine him in the final war, against Blackbeard, against the Admirals, against Emu, the shadow that rules the world. What happens when Joy Boy fights for the dawn of the world? What happens when freedom itself declares war on tyranny? From a rubber boy in East Blue to a god who can bend reality with a laugh, Monkey D. Luffy's journey is one of the greatest evolutions in anime history. And that's why we love Luffy. Not because he's the strongest, but because no matter how impossible the odds, he finds a way. He laughs, he fights, he rises. And now the world knows the Pirate King is coming. So tell me, which gear is your favorite? Gear 2 for that iconic steam? Gear 4 for the epic hype? Or Gear 5, the peak of insanity and freedom? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash like if you love One Piece. Subscribe for more deep dives and ring the bell because this adventure is far from over.